All right, hey everyone, welcome to the Mortgage Punk Show. I'm Chris, and today I have a superdy-duperdy, very super-duperdy special guest, which is Lesley Perreault. She's a phenomenal agent in the Wichita market, and we have a lot of history together.
Thanks for having me on today.
I've been waiting for this interview. So Lesley is with Real Broker. I'll let you tell more about you here in a second, but I just want to tell everyone watching that Lesley and I used to have a podcast show together.
We did.
Called Prairiepreneur, and we haven't gotten to do one of those episodes for I don't know, how long has it been now?
Has it been
Probably
a year?
Almost.
Yeah.
We're going on.
So we're getting the band back together.
So this is a reunion. So for those of you watching for the first time, this is a very special episode of the Mortgage Punk Show because I've got Lesley, who was a co-host with me for so long. And I think we do pretty well on camera together.
Yeah, I would think so.
And it's fun.
Just ask us.
It's fun to talk. I think we just kind of do some of our own episodes amongst ourselves.
Yeah, when people didn't show up when they were supposed to or whatever. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. So we like to talk and we like to podcast and we like to do this kind of stuff.
Yep.
So it's right up our alley. So thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Here. Lesley is a boss. She is an entrepreneur. She's super creative, and she's got probably 10 different irons in the fire, wouldn't you say, going?
Usually
at any
least.
given time.
Yeah.
Multiple.
I'm only David's boss.
You're David's boss.
Yeah.
That sounds right. Now, David is Lesley's husband.
Yes.
But I'll let you get into more of that. So, all right, my first question, Lesley, is do we want to roll this show like we did our guests on the podcast we used to do?
It's your show. You do it however you want.
Whole different
whatever
angle.
You want. It's your show.
Okay, so let's just do this. Why don't you tell everyone who David is? That would probably be helpful.
David is my husband.
All right, perfect. And Lesley's happily
yes,
married, and David goes everywhere. They do everything together.
And he's happy because I said so. No, we're attached at the hip for the most part.
They are. They are. I don't even remember the last time I've had a conversation with you. Well, I guess we do have conversations.
Yeah. Where
you're on your own in the background, but lots of conversations on speakerphone.
Yeah, because it's in the car.
You guys are in
you get both of us
in the car doing business together.
Two for the price of one.
Two for the price of one.
Yep.
So, and you guys do complement each other pretty well.
Thank you.
I would say.
Thank you.
Yeah. And David had his own business.
Yes.
So he's a past business owner as well.
Yep. He ran a martial arts business. He learned
a successful.
Yeah, they had about 150 students. He learned how to do that while he lived in Japan for the military, and came back to the States and implemented, and then retired from the military and ran his school until I snagged him and put him to work driving me around.
You guys didn't meet though when he was overseas, no?
No.
It wasn't until he came here.
Yeah, he lived here. He's been here since '98.
But he came here to start a dojo. Is that how I say it? Dojo?
Yeah.
Did I say it right?
He came here for McConnell. He was stationed at McConnell for 10 years.
But he had to leave his business there.
Yes. He left his business
martial
in
arts
Japan.
Practice there.
Mm-hmm.
So he was looking for opportunity here, right? When he
wound up taking some time off. I think about 3 years when he finally was in Wichita to just get things up and running.
That's right.
Family, little kids.
We interviewed him.
Yes, we did.
We interviewed a lot of people. So one thing I have discovered about this show is as I've gotten positive feedback from other agents who watch and pick up and are encouraged by hearing these stories.
Okay.
And I know your story will be a very encouraging one because you have been super successful, and no matter what you do, you make it. You either cut bait and let it go if it's not a good idea and move on to the next one.
It's a hell yes or a hell no.
Right. But you make it work.
Right.
You make it work. You make it happen. So how long have you been in real estate now? How many years has it been?
23.
Has it been 23? We got into at the same time.
Yeah.
3.
I think that's 123 actual real estate years. It's like dog years.
Okay. Before you were in real estate, you were in sales still, right?
I did a whole lot of different things. One of my first jobs, I worked for a real estate company on their marketing when I was in high school.
Who is that?
I worked for Willie Keeley out on the west side of town, Prudential.
Oh, wow.
And my grandma worked there as a broker. And so that's how I wound up in that west side office because, I graduated from Mays, like you were mentioning earlier, west side. I worked at a trap shoot where they shoot clay pigeons, and I did the pulling. So the guys would say pull, and I would hit the button for the clay pigeons to sling out, and they would shoot them. I was a forklift driver at an aircraft company. I went to work for Boeing. And then I went to car sales. Yeah. I dated somebody that sold cars, and he made more money than I did working at Boeing. And I thought, if he can do that, I can definitely do that. So I went into car business. And
how'd you do there?
I did well. Yeah.
So from car business, what was in between real estate?
Pretty much just that. It was kind of back to back. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why did you get into real estate if you're doing well at the car business?
The car business is an interesting business, and I loved being in it. I don't think it's really made for married life. I was the only chick and a whole bunch of dudes at a car business, and we had lots of
interesting discussions.
Naughty time at the car lot, and it just wasn't conducive for married life. My grandma sold real estate for a really long time, for 47 years, and she had always said, "Oh, we'll start our own brokerage," which never happened. And so I went to work with her at Wigand when I first got my real estate license.
Okay.
So,
but you never started a team?
Nope.
Never started an enterprise with her?
No.
Or anything like that? So I know you're kind of like me. For those of you watching, me and Lesley we've been in the business the same amount of years.
Mm-hmm.
And we're both 80s children. So she's got hot pink on right now, which is a tell sign that you might be from the 1980s. We were both from the 1900s for sure.
Yes.
And have you noticed these? Do you scroll through your reels on Facebook, for your own personal entertainment?
Do I look at my reels for my own person?
Yeah,
no, not really.
Do you look at reels on Facebook?
Reels, yes.
For personal entertainment.
Yes.
Do you scroll past these? Remember this if you're an 80s child, and it's got like a litany of movie clips from Top Gun to BMX bikes to, just everything you could possibly think of that would be a clip from our generation.
I was showing David a picture of a Fisher-Price tape recorder the other day that was sold in brown. I don't know why they thought that would be like a kid color to sell it in brown. Two-tone brown tape recorder.
But
it was real
like
sexy.
A hip color. Remember wagons? What were the car wagons? The
Woody's?
Yeah, right. Yeah. That was a thing, right? That was a color from the 80s.
I don't know who decided that. But
I don't either.
So the brown Fisher-Price that I would take and hold up next to the TV to record songs off of MTV on the rare occasion that we actually had cable.
Right.
So we played outside. I didn't watch a whole lot of movies. We rented a VCR from Dylan's for my 8th birthday to watch Freaky Friday. So we didn't even have a VCR.
Did you just have to be home when the streetlights came on?
No, my mom knew where we were at all times. So yeah.
Would be an interesting world to live in without, I can go on my phone, and you got the Find My iPhone.
Yeah.
So you can see where all of your children are at.
David even has a tracking device on my car keys. He says that it's so that he can always find my car keys when I can't, but I really think he's tracking me when I'm not around him.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny. But our stories are very similar. I know that. And we both kind of took the road to I can't remember. Did you attend college or no?
Some.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went on a vocal music scholarship.
A little bit of college, a little bit of working here, a little bit of working there. What was the number one reason that drove you to real estate? What lit the fire? Just your conversations with your grandmother?
I think that was some of it because they lived a very different lifestyle than a lot of people that I was around. My granddad did 30 plus years in the Army and had a good retirement from that, then went to Boeing and then retired from that. And my grandma was in real estate and was always successful at what she had done. So they lived a more elaborate lifestyle than what my parents did and what my friends' parents did. So I thought there's something to this. And then in high school, I worked at the mall and we got paid commission for our sales. And I was like, this is really interesting. I like this little extra bonus perk because if I'm working harder than somebody else, then I should be rewarded more than somebody else. Yeah.
Right.
And so that was interesting. The car business didn't pay as much. Like it totally different pay structure.
Than the mall?
Well, definitely it paid better than the mall, but I'm saying as far as real estate in comparison,
right.
I was like, there's a lot more opportunity with this.
So as soon as you got into the realm of like incentivized, commission structured, hey, no one can tell you can't make X.
Yeah.
That sounds like it lit a fire.
Yes.
Underneath you.
And not wanting to have a whole lot of bosses.
Right.
I hate being told what to do. And I've had that from a young child. I'm pretty sure I popped out that way.
So there's two signs right there that you might be entrepreneurial. Is don't want a boss, but the other piece of it is, can you go catch business? That would be, because a lot of people don't want a boss.
Right.
But not everyone can just go.
I would rather work for minimum wage for 100 hours a week for myself than to go work for somebody else for 40 hours a week for a lot more money.
Right. So your grandma, so it was this incentivized culture that you got into, or in terms of work.
Yes.
And then your grandmother's story, really, her life and
they had rental properties and so I saw some of that growing up.
So everything you're doing now is kind of a glimpse of everything.
It was everything. It was a starting point. Yep.
That's so cool. So, all right. So you went from car sales to real estate, following your grandmother's example to get away from crazy, wild dudes at the car lot.
I was probably the crazy wild one. They were just along for the ride with whatever I was doing.
You terrorized the place.
Yes.
And left it in a wreck.
Absolutely.
At the end of each
day.
I
was like 21 years old. What else was I to do? I was unsupervised in 21 and
Yeah. So 2003, that was when the move happened.
Yes.
Roughly. Went to work for Wygan, but not for your grandma.
Correct.
You just went where she was.
Correct.
And started there. What was your first year in real estate like? Do you remember what your production was? Do you remember how many deals you closed?
I did 24 deals.
In your first year?
In my first year.
Wow.
I was 24.
Okay. What do most realtors do in their first year?
I don't know on the first year, but I know average agent is like 4 or 5 deals a year, period.
Right.
So that's even seasoned, quote unquote. Well, yeah. Yeah.
So a realtor who's been in the business for a little while averages about how many, you said?
4 to 5 a year.
4 to 5 deals a year. And that's not being new.
No, that's just the average of everybody from new to, 200 years old.
2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Right.
And you sold 24 out of the gate, first year. How did you do that? Because that's impressive.
Well, it was back before YouTube. I had a pager. So there really wasn't a whole lot of information you could glean other than if somebody was sharing something at the office. I learned really quick that I didn't learn a whole lot going to the office.
You had a pager?
I had a pager.
In 2003.
I surely did.
Mm-hmm. Was it clear? Was it one of those colored clear pages? And did you wear it?
I don't remember, but I think it was black.
Yes. Flipped around backwards.
You could text people boobless, get some drugs, whatever you needed to do on your pager.
Oh my goodness.
It was really funny.
That's so funny.
So if you're watching this and you don't know real estate contracts, basically when you take a listing, it has a timeline of how long your listing is good for, and then it expires. And I saw on MLS that there were these listings that were expiring. And so to me, they were like fair game for me to try to get listings.
Because something didn't happen.
Correct.
Right? They listed it and didn't get it sold for whatever reason.
And, I didn't have a big database of people at 24 years old. And plus with, my crazy past of really liking to have a good time, it wasn't like my friends' parents were trusting me to, do real estate
Sell
deals
their
for
next
them. They
house.
do now, but it wasn't the same at 24 years old. And so I'm like, I need to find people that have no clue who I am.
Right.
And I need to go find people fast. Like I had Austin, he was in a little car carrier, and I'm like, I have to make this work. And so I was on MLS, and every night at 12:01 midnight, it would show the expired listings. And I had this harebrained idea. I'm like, I'm going to start calling these people.
Sure.
And so we would find them. I'd start digging through to see who the owners of the properties were. And then I'd have to go to whitepages.com, and people had home phones back then, so they were easier to find phone numbers. And I would make my whole list at 12:01 midnight every night. And then I would get up the next morning at 8 a.m.
Pound the phones.
And I would start working on the phone. And we had a lot more expired listings then than we do now. The market was a little different.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just call them. I'm like, hey, this is Lesley with Wygand. And I was calling to see if you were still interested in selling your house at 123 Main Street. And they're like, yeah, it's for sale. Actually, it's not. Your agent hasn't called you yet and talked to you about that. Your house isn't being marketed any longer. And they would be super pissed. And
that's funny.
I was like, when can I come out and talk to you? I mean, obviously, I'm more aggressive than your past agent.
Good
and I listed,
smart.
and it was funny because I never went to the office because I had Austin and I couldn't really afford a babysitter. So I just did a lot of prospecting from home, called the for sale by owners, and
how
many
numbers
worked
would you get? How many do you think on average?
Oh, maybe there was 20 calls a morning.
Okay.
That point.
That's a good amount of calls. 20 calls. That's a big deal.
And then going back through and touching base with people that you had made calls with before to see how their for sale by owner was going and things like that. And it was really weird because they start calling me, hey, you're getting awards. And I was like, what am I getting an award for? And I wound up being Wygand's Rookie of the Year that year. I was their top listing agent out of the East Harry office, which no longer even exists. Well, Wygand doesn't even exist other than commercial at this point.
Yeah.
And pagers really no longer exist. So there we tie it up with a bow. But I had no idea that I was really doing anything special. I was just working, and Austin was a pain in the butt.
Common sense
to take. Yeah, I thought I came up with this crazy concept of expireds. I didn't know, like, if you went to an actual training seminar somewhere that they would teach you what to do.
Funny.
I was just like, I'm a genius, and I just discovered this, and I'm going to work it, and I'm going to get paid.
That's hilarious.
So that's really how my business started, and open houses, and just really trying to pick up business. I just hustled my buns off, and I think that's
what you got to do.
The biggest difference between people that are successful and people that aren't.
Yeah.
In any facet of life.
Well, speaking of the hustle, I got to take a break here and give a plug in for Old Castle Title, which
Carrie.
I've introduced you to recently.
Yes.
Our mutual friend, Carrie Leonard, started this title company, I think about maybe 6 months to a year ago.
It was open the first part of the year because he was one of the sponsors for our Real Awards Gala.
Yep. So yeah, pretty much since the beginning of this year.
Yep.
So, hey, if you're buying or selling a house, you need a title company who can lock your deal down, make sure everything runs smooth, and make sure it's secure, that you're not going to have someone knocking on your door saying, hey, I own that house. And you're like, no, I just bought this house. That's what you need a title company for. And Old Castle is going to do a great job protecting your most valuable asset. So want to give a shout out to Carrie and to Old Castle. That whole crew over there does a fantastic job. We do a lot of refinances over there with them.
Yeah, you did mine.
I did yours. So anyhow, Carrie, thanks for sponsoring the show. Old Castle team, you're great. Keep doing what you're doing. I agree with you 100%. And I think it's interesting that you made 20 calls a day, because my goal is to make 30 outbound calls per day to hit the high quotas and goals that I'm supposed to be hitting.
I think one of the reasons it was successful is, I mean, you can make 30 calls a day in the phone book and have a different play, or different numbers that turn out compared to
conversion.
Yeah. Compared to here's 20 sellers. You already know that they wanted to sell their house. They had listed it at some point. And so unless their lifestyle or something had changed dramatically, these were super hot leads.
Yeah. They're like cold, but hot. like cold, hot leads.
Right. I mean, they're cold
Cold in the
because
sense
they don't know you.
'em. Yeah, right.
And they're already mad because the agent that they had hired hadn't sold their house in 3, 4, 6 months, whatever the time frame was that they had agreed to. And they never felt like it could have been them or it could have been their house or they didn't listen to what the agent said.
Right.
It was always the agent didn't do enough marketing. The agent didn't hold it open. The agent didn't do blah, blah, blah. So it was a matter of overcoming that very quickly.
So you're making about 20 calls a day on average, and you closed 24 transactions that year.
Yep.
That first year. So 20 calls a day. So you're about 100 a week. So you're contacting almost 400 sellers.
Yep.
To close 2 transactions. That's a lot. That's a hustle. Right there.
I didn't have anything else to do. It's like you're basically unemployed until you have a contract.
You employ yourself.
Yeah,
Right.
until somebody employs you. And so it was just like, well, I don't have anything else going on. I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to pound this. And I think the other thing that was really vital, I just dressed up. I mean, everywhere I showed up, I was dressed up to all of the appointments.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it made me appear older than 24. It kind of instantly gave me a credibility than if I would have just shown up in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt.
Right.
Now it's funny because I feel like I could show up in shorts and a t-shirt and just the amount of experience I have speaks for itself. But when you don't have that experience, your look has to speak for you.
Yeah.
And it changes your confidence. David and I just had a conversation about this. He said, people treat me different when I'm in a suit coat. Because we were going out to dinner. We were just in DC last week. And he was like, just the reaction that he got from people was totally different.
Yeah.
And I said, I preached that to all of the new agents when they would go get licenses. I'm like, you feel more confident. And maybe that's why people treat you different, because you do feel different when you're suited up to play the game.
I agree. This is like the first episode. I don't think I have a suit on. I'm sort of suited up today.
Yep.
But I agree with you 100%. It does change your mindset. And it also changes the perception.
Yep.
Coming from a potential client. So do you remember if your first year in real estate there must have been a lot of inventory, a lot more inventory then?
Yes.
Than now.
Yes.
Because we're short on that.
That's why we had more expired listings than what we have now.
Yeah. So, okay. So you had a very successful first year, rookie of the year at Wygand. What happened the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years?
I found out that giving Wygand 50% of my check for a one-time picture of a listing on a Sunday front page of the classifieds, which almost no longer exists either. And
that's
inputting
Facebook now.
Yeah, right. You do your own. But yeah, basically they wanted 50% of your check and they input your listings into MLS. They gave you a sign in a lockbox. And I realized very quickly that those were gold-plated signs and lock boxes and that I could afford them way cheaper and go work somewhere else. And so I went to work at Realty Executives for Tim Holt, who was an amazing broker, still amazing broker. I did a deal with him earlier this year, and he's still out there slinging the real estate. I don't know how old Tim is, so I won't even go into that, but he's been around. But it was $1,500, if I remember right off the top of my head. It was $1,500 a month to go work there.
Okay.
Whether you sold anything or not.
That you had to pay.
Correct.
And that was just it. So
Correct.
anything you could make above $1,500
was yours.
You get to keep.
So that's where the
Pretty
hustlers
simple.
were.
I see.
Because you weren't spending $1,500 a month unless you were serious about showing up and working.
Mm-hmm.
So where a lot of the brokerages, even real that we're at now, it's like we just take 15% of whatever it is that you go out and produce.
Right.
Where this was putting your money where your mouth was straight out the gate of I'm going to go out and produce.
So that's kind of like an early version of some of these other brokerages that you've been a part of over the years.
Everything else has been paying out of what you've accomplished. This was basically paying whether you accomplished anything.
That's so interesting.
And it's great because you think about it, you hire a trainer. I know you're big into that. Mm-hmm. So you hire a trainer and it holds you more accountable to show up and do what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you have $1,500 coming out of your pocket that month, that you better get your butt to the office or you better go make some phone calls or do something to get some business.
Yeah. Because you got to pay that first. before you can even put anything in your pocket
Correct.
to make a living with, that's crazy. So did your production levels grow from there?
Yes. And it really spiked. So I had one of the expired phone calls that I made was to a gal named Barbara. And it was a Sunday morning. And I told her that I was calling about these listings that had expired, same pitch that I told you a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, well, actually, I have 8 houses and they should all be expiring at the same time because I listed them all at the same time. If you want to come over this afternoon, you can list all of them because the agent I had before hasn't even called me to tell me. Only thing he ever did for me was have me fill out paperwork and sign it and give me a cup of coffee while I was doing it. And I said, okay, fine, I'll be right over. And so I got all my paperwork put together, all of the 8 listing packets. I went over and met her and I had her sign all of these things. And I think that I might have sold 2 of the 8 houses because what I didn't realize and what Barbara wasn't forthcoming about was that all of them were going back to the bank.
Oh, no.
She was a hot mess express. And I learned so many things about foreclosures. I was marketing the heck out of them, like as package deals. I thought, well, maybe I can pick up some investor buyers and sell them something that I can actually sell because she owed an amount for a house up by WSU that you could have bought the whole block for. I don't even know how she financed that much money. And the way that I found out they were in foreclosure was one of the vice presidents of Emprise Bank called me and said, hey, we see that you're really trying to advertise this property on Baton and we're foreclosing it. And we wanted to know if you would be willing to take over the foreclosure listing on it. And so I wound up, that turned into some foreclosure business through Emprise. And then I started doing some investing and that turned into some foreclosure business with Kansas. And then I got a phone call from Janie Carr one time. She was at Countrywide, so that tells you how long ago that was.
Countrywide.
And she said, hey, I want to know what it's going to take to earn your business. And I said, I want Countrywide's foreclosures. And she says, that's really funny. And I said, why? I'd never met her before. And she says, well, we just had a sales meeting this morning and they said that we needed to find somebody to start selling our foreclosures. And I've never had anybody ever ask me for that. She said, do you have any experience? And I said, I do. She said, can you get me a resume? I can. And so I did that. And I wound up with all of Countrywide's foreclosures. And then when they were bought out by Bank of America, I got all of Bank of America's foreclosures. Bank of America was handling Deutsche Bank's and the VA's foreclosures. And so like 08.
What year was that? In 08?
08,
was that
09.
After the crash?
I was.
I mean, I know this part of your story, but I guess I've never heard it with some of these details.
Yeah. And so I wound up really getting in on the investment side of things.
That must have launched your production levels through the roof.
Oh gosh. Yeah. I was selling 80, 90 houses a year as a solo agent and just slinging all of this stuff. And it was crazy because you had to go get all the locks changed and the roofs tarped and the yards mowed.
And you were doing this by yourself.
At that point, I called a friend of mine that was working in a job placement service. And I said, I have all of this crazy stuff going on. Can you help me find somebody that you would trust to show up and work out of my house? She goes, yeah, my mom. And this was somebody that I'd went to high school with. So I'd already met her mom on several occasions. And so Lisa came and worked for me for years.
Really?
Until she retired. And so she did all of the bookkeeping. She says, as long as I can show up in flip-flops and sweats every day, I don't want to call and talk to anybody. I don't want to see anybody in person. As long as I can just do whatever behind the scenes you need done, I'm your gal. And so
that must have been about were you closing about 16 to 20 million in production, something like that?
No, because they were repos and they were like 20,000 and 50,000. And I was just slinging
lots
all sorts
of transactions.
Walmart,
high volume.
Walmart version of business. But it really put me in touch with a lot of different people and having a different understanding for investing, a different understanding for what it took to maintain the properties and the inspection processes of those. And
so since you're talking about your first exposure to investing, other than seeing your grandma's business, because she owned investment properties and you saw that growing up, I do want to take a minute to thank Travis Whistler, who is a business partner of mine. and it would our story together would be my entrance or entryway into owning a lot of investment properties. But I want to thank Travis because he sponsors the Mortgage Punk Show. He's with TW Custom Homes. So if you're watching this episode and you have a client, or if you're looking to build a home yourself, a custom home, Travis is definitely making a name for himself as a young builder in the Wichita market.
Yep.
He's working together with several known builders that have been around a long time. He does a really good job, great craftsmanship. If you can dream it up, he can build it. Anything from traditional houses to very modern.
Right.
So anyhow, Travis, thanks for sponsoring the show. Call TW Custom Homes if you're looking to build a custom home in the Wichita market. So, okay. So you really became that you capitalized on the 2008 and 9 crash.
Absolutely.
Not knowing it. It just it sounds like it fell.
Well, the answer is always no, unless you ask the question. And so I asked the question, not really expecting to get near what I got out of it. I mean, because even like Emprise, where I was selling their stuff, they had already sold off the bulk of their portfolio. So the only thing at that point, they weren't doing mortgages. So the only portfolio that they had left was the stuff that nobody wanted to buy.
Touch.
So it was the like
leftovers,
$10,000, $25,000, stuff. So yeah, that was interesting.
It sounds like it spun off from your expired listing calls, right? Because you started really getting things rolling.
It was a thin thread that linked everything together.
Listings, out of that business model that you were working, and then it spun off into a whole nother model, really.
Well, it spun off even further than that because I needed people to do all of these maintenance things on the houses and change the locks. And at any given point, Bank of America, they would owe me $30,000, $40,000 a month in what I was having to get done on their properties. And so my husband, now ex-husband, he transitioned from being a paramedic into I can figure out how to change locks. I can figure out how to winterize the property. And so he wound up doing that and turned it into a 6-figure business, from the one connection, and then took it and ran from there. So there was a lot of things that came out of it. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize until you're really looking back on things to see where things turned up from, or what really was that initial thing that made everything else transpire. And yeah, if I wouldn't have made those phone calls, I would have never met this crazy Barbara lady. There's 100 stories I could fill this entire podcast with, all of the crazy shit that I learned from Barbara. And then all of the stuff that spun off, with Emprise.
One investor going belly up changed the game.
Oh, yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
Now you own investment property. You own your own. You've flipped. How many homes have you flipped, Lesley?
Probably close to 100 at this point.
That's awesome.
It's just been a lot.
Homes.
Yeah.
Now you're buying rentals. You've owned rentals. You've sold off a lot of rentals.
I've owned trailer parks. I've done a whole lot. So commercial is really the only thing other than the trailer park stuff that I just don't feel like that warm fuzzy for it yet.
It's different.
It is different. So yeah, mainly everything that we've done has been either single family, multifamily, or these 2 crazy trailer parks.
You can't really do that now, can you? You couldn't go into the industry right now and capitalize on foreclosures at the moment, could you? I mean, is that really more of something that came out of the 2008 and 2009 crash that created a temporary seasonal opportunity, I guess?
Well,
that only lasts for
there will always be foreclosures.
Sure.
So I don't know that. I would say that there's probably a few agents in Wichita that still have a business based around foreclosures, but I'm sure their numbers aren't near what they were during that time. And there's still connections that I have that still send us out to look at properties from the exterior, evaluate whether or not we think they're vacant or not, and throw them a range of prices for that neighborhood so that the investor or the lender can figure out how hard how hard they want to pursue starting a foreclosure on the property. So yeah, I still have an in with all of that. It's something that I've just kind of continued to nurture just
But
in
the
case.
activity levels are just significantly lower.
Oh yeah. I think last year I sold one foreclosure. I mean,
so it's not that it's not there to capitalize on.
Correct.
It's just that the activity is
well, and especially during COVID and all of that,
key.
everything was like halted. Nobody was foreclosing. So yeah, it's Robert Kiyosaki said, there's two sides of every quarter, and then there's the edge, and that's how I've always viewed that year. When he said that, I was like, that was 100% how my life was. I just played the edge of what the situation was because
you did. I mean, from the time you walked into the industry.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
All
when
the
I heard him say that,
listings.
Yep.
So you've been able to leverage these different opportunities and cycles, really.
I've just never been afraid to ask for the business.
Yeah.
Because even that boils down to the listings for the first sell by owners or the expireds or whatever.
Like 100 people a week.
I jokingly say that I hate the word no, but I don't need counseling over it. I need counseling for 100 other reasons, but not for the word no.
Not for the word no.
Yeah.
Well, you probably don't even hear it. Do you? I don't hear it. When someone tells me no, it's like when I was 3. It doesn't register.
Yeah, you just have to come at it at a different angle. It's just not now.
Not now.
Yeah.
It's either not now or not under these circumstances or
And it depends on what it is at this point, because I'm like, how hard do I really want to chase after this? If, again, going back to what we said earlier, it's like I'm looking for a hell yes or a hell no. So if it's a hell no, I have enough hell yeses at this point in my business that I don't need to go
burn through a bunch of those.
Yeah, it changes things once you've established a business and you have people that are coming back to you repeatedly or referring other people to you. I don't have to go and pound the pavement the same way. I have to love and nurture and still do a good job for who I've done deals with all through the years, but totally different as far as that goes. I don't have to go convince people to do business with me at this point.
What would you say to an agent getting into the business this year? Like they're brand new. They're just like you 23 years ago. The opportunities that existed then don't exist now. So what would be your advice to a new agent? What would you tell them to do?
I think there's always opportunities that exist, and it doesn't matter what is happening in the market. There will always be people that buy and sell, because it doesn't matter if interest rates are 15% or 0.5%. People are going to be dying. People are going to be divorcing. They're going to be getting married, having babies, and relocating for work, and all of those things. So there will always be sales in real estate. I think that they really have to leverage social media. They really need to leverage video. They really need to leverage blogging, is one of the things that I'm really working very hard at right now.
Google Analytics.
That's part of it, for ChatGPT purposes.
Okay.
I've already been getting some phone calls. It's like, hey, I see you're an expert in this neighbor. I was looking for an agent on ChatGPT. I find that so weird, but it's really what's happening.
ChatGPT is a new Google. In my opinion,
Google's down 10% on searches, and I think that it's courtesy of ChatGPT. Me too, 100%.
So real quick, Lesley, I want to talk about social media, and you guys watching, you've tuned into the perfect episode to listen to a realtor to harness the power of social media, because Lesley is definitely the queen, or one of them. But I want to take a minute to say thank you to Michael Gaum.
Yes.
Who you've been working with lately.
Yes.
I know Michael personally. So does Lesley. He and his wife own the Glass Guru of Wichita.
He tagged me in a front yard on the west side today. He was out checking out some windows for me.
He did. So Michael, you're making a difference, man, and you're getting out there. But I've known Michael. I've done his mortgages. I've done his family's mortgages. He's a hardworking entrepreneur. I mean, he came out of the aircraft industry in management. And so I know he runs a really good business. It's very prompt at getting back to people.
He's always quick to respond and quick to get out and look at what I need done.
Very quick. So he runs a very tight ship and does a fantastic job. They can even repair your glass without having to repair the whole window itself and save you some money. So if you got foggy windows, if you got broken glass, if you've got just questions related to your windows in your house, call Michael over at the Glass Guru of Wichita. He'll clear it up, again, super fast because your window view should always be crystal clear. So how'd you like that little tag?
There you go. Is that his tag or is that yours?
No, that was mine I came up with. No, that's ChatGPT.
Oh, Lord.
So, all right, let's talk about social media. So if you're just tuning into this episode, we're talking with Lesley Perreault. She's with Real Broker, been a real estate agent for 23 years, super successful. She's one of my closest partners in the business and crime. I've worked with Lesley for, I don't know how many years we've been working together now.
5, maybe?
5 years.
Is that right?
5 to 6.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
So anyhow, Lesley is one of my go-tos. I call her up when I need to be encouraged, when I need a little bit of fire, when I need to get my act together, and I call Lesley and she helps me out. But one of the things I call Lesley for is to pick her brain on social media because she's had huge success. I would say, I don't know who the first agent in Wichita was that really went gung-ho after social media, but if you weren't the first, you were definitely.
I just did it at a bigger
You were
scale.
definitely right there at the front of the line. You've got a huge following on social media. So let's talk about that for a minute. Tell me, you were talking about blogging, because blogging is kind of almost old school. So what are you learning about blogging that is relevant, I guess, to where we're at with technology?
Well, ChatGPT basically pulls data from all of the different internet sources.
Yep.
And so if you're the one providing the data, you're the source that they're referencing in the information that they're giving to the people that are looking for information. It's coming back around because, I didn't even blog when blogging really started.
Which was a minute ago.
Yeah, it's been several years, I would say, at this point. Because more or less, I took off on doing a lot of social media reels, and then you and I were doing podcasts. And so it was more like a vlog, if you will.
Right.
And now it's pulling from written word. So you have to have written word. So back to blog. And that's one of the things that I've been focusing on. So like this month, I've got a different blog that comes out every day on my real estate website. And ChatGPT is great to help write those blogs. And then I go in and finesse it.
You've been using ChatGPT for the blog?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I go in and finesse it, and I put my 2 cents and put my touch on it and, go from there. But the basics, I don't have to reinvent the wheel. The basics are the basics. It'll give the basics, and then you slap your personality to it and post it.
What about your Google reviews? How important are those?
Very.
In terms of linking up with ChatGPT and where it's pulling information from to try to determine, when someone says, who's the best realtor in Wichita to work with, to ChatGPT.
So what's interesting is if you go on and you look, can you pull it up on ChatGPT while we're sitting here? Mm-hmm. And you type in, who is the best mortgage lender in Wichita? I want to know. You don't have to tell me that it doesn't say you, or if it does say you, definitely say that it says you. Throw it out there or lie to everybody.
I'm typing it right now.
But
you may not be able to see this, but I've got a keyboard in front of me here.
So what's interesting about it is if you look to the side of it, it tells you the websites that they're pulling the data from. So those are the websites that you need to go to and make sure that you have a profile created there.
Yeah, I see it.
And that and you're getting either reviews on those pages or you're linking up to those pages. And so that's one of the things that I started doing in order to rank, if you want to call it that, when people search on ChatGPT. It's like, okay, Fast Experts. What the heck is Fast Experts? That was one of the ones that came up for me. So I had to go in and register on Fast Experts, put my bio on there, because I'm like, if that's where I know ChatGPT is telling me that it's pulling from, then that's where I need my information.
Right.
So it gives you a roadmap. You just have to connect the dots.
That's interesting. I don't think people have caught on to that yet. I think AI is still so new.
And I nerd out to all of this stuff, like all the algorithms.
You're very good at catching trends, Lesley.
Thank you.
You seem to always be on the forefront of every major trend.
I think some of that is Probably ADD. It's like I just get really bored because I've done the same thing for so long. It's like, all right, what's next? And I'm like, oh, this is cool. Let's look into this. And I think some of that also comes from coaching. So, my coach is coaching 50 other rock stars all over the nation. And so I'm hearing from him, hey, this is really working for so-and-so in Florida, and this is working for so-and-so in Colorado or wherever the locations are. And so I'm getting a bigger picture of what's happening instead of me never showing up to the office at Wygand and not knowing anything about what was going on or even why I was getting an award. So it's different to see that big picture and to hear what other people are doing. And then lucky for me, Wichita's 10 years late to the party pretty much always. And so it just looks like I came up with something cool and it wasn't anything to do with me. I just took something that somebody else started doing 5 years ahead of us in a different market and slapped my name and face onto it.
I love it. The listing trend, you caught that in the very beginning of your career. Then the foreclosure trend.
Yep.
Like you've really been savvy at picking up on the next tidal wave coming through the real estate market and industry. So I know when you first started social media and you started gathering a lot of followers, like you've got a lot of followers on Facebook, you would always tell me, Chris, you just have to post.
Correct.
Are you still doing that? And is it still working?
Yes.
Or have you changed things up a little bit?
Yes and no. So when we first started doing all the video content, we hired somebody to do 100% of it. And I was trying to tell other agents, this is what you need to be doing. And I kept getting this, yeah, but you're able to get this many views and following and blah, 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 because you're paying all this money and I don't have that kind of money. And I thought, what's really interesting is I find it more interesting to see like real life stuff instead of very commercialized things. And so I thought, I'm just going to do videos from my phone, from my house. I still need to figure out, like, I don't have any carpet in my house and I still hear this echo a little bit in my office and it drives me batshit crazy, but it doesn't change the views. So I think most people don't listen anyway. They're reading the captions.
Right.
So that's good. But yeah, I've changed some things, but I haven't changed the fact that I'm still making the videos. Yes.
That's the key, right? The
yes.
consistency. How many times you post a day?
So at least 3.
Okay.
So I'll do.
You've been doing that for how long now? At least
4
3
years.
times a day for the last 4
at least 4 years. So I do a morning like motivational quote, and then I'll do a social media reel. Yep. And then later in the day, it's either something personal, pictures of my cats.
Yep. So you have a
something
mix.
David did.
Mix
travel,
of personal, mix of
or
business.
real estate.
3 posts a day.
Yep.
Consistently. On one platform or all social platforms?
I think it works on all platforms. And I was posting it on all platforms. Now I'm just pretty much posting it on Facebook. And I need to get back into all of it. But I just need more hours in the day to do all of it. So when people ask me that question about which one should I post on or how often, and is it the same, is it okay if I post the same? Whatever one you're going to do the most consistently, that's the one you should focus on.
Right.
Because if it takes you that much time that you're only doing 1 post a week on each one, it's not consistent enough to get you the results. So if you're going to only post 5 times, post 5 times on the same platform in a week. So
because you got to be consistent with the platform.
Yep. And I also think it's really important to post on the platform that you already have the biggest amount of people that like when I started getting serious about it, I like busted out my yearbooks from grade school, high school, all of that. And I just started friend requesting people. I'm like, well, they might recognize my name. And it's crazy, crazy how much business I've got from people that I know them. I mean, I know their name too. That's as well as I know them.
Right.
But now they feel like they know me because they've seen me so consistently and they've watched the videos that they feel like they know me when I show up at their house or when they call me and ask me a question about buying their first house at 47 years old. Just had that one a couple of weeks ago.
Wow.
So
consistency, pick a platform, or be consistent on all platforms. I think I've heard Gary V, who's the social media guru of our day. I think he posts 20. But he's got a big team.
Yeah.
I think they do 20 plus posts per day.
Well, my real estate coach, my real estate coach and I have talked about that. And I said, do you think that you can overdo it? And he said, I think it's like radio ads. He's like, think about it. Like you could hear certain car dealership jingles or whatever, and you could hear them over and over again during the day. And all it did was make you remember the song or the phone number or the whatever. He said, so you just have to think, you didn't hear every one of them either because you weren't listening to the radio for 24 hours a day. So as you're posting, not everybody's going to see every post that you make. So I don't really know that you can overdo it. I just don't have any more bandwidth to do
anymore.
A whole lot
and
more.
Handle transactions.
And still sell real estate.
And everything else you got going on. And your properties that you're buying and fixing up.
Right.
I got to do one more shout out here to one of our sponsors. And speaking of social media, they do great at social media. So Matt and Natalie Inbody own Vortex air duct cleaning services here in Wichita. So if you're looking to have your ventilation system sucked completely out, call Matt or Natalie because indoor air matters, and they deliver very good service. Yep. They're fast. They're very efficient. They run a really tight ship as well. They're just very professional, and they want you breathing easy and not sucking in fumes from prior homeowners that
not
have
even
lived,
just fumes, like all their dead skin and all the dog hair and everything else that's existed in that house for 50 plus years. That's where it's laid. It just
grosses me out. I'll never not do it again. Ever.
We just did it on our rental, and Natalie and those guys came out and took care of it because I can't even stand to have my tenants. Knowing what I know, it's disgusting.
So call Vortex, and Vortex does a really good job at social media.
They do.
Natalie's really got her act together when it comes to social media because you don't really see fun social media videos of people sucking ventilation systems
out. They'll show you everything that they've sucked out of it. And
So Matt, Natalie, thank you guys. You guys are amazing, and I appreciate you sponsoring the show. That means a lot. All right, we're on the downhill of our interview here, Lesley. Anything you could think of that would be inspiring or encouraging to the world of realtors watching this episode?
I think with anything, I've got a t-shirt that I made that says this: it all works if you do. It doesn't matter what the lead source is or,
what the market
anything about
is,
it. Yes, it all works if you'll put the effort into it. So if you're playing 100%, you're going to get 100% results. If you're half-assing it, you're going to get half the results.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be happy with those. And nobody's going to do it for you. We just rescued this third cat that somebody left behind at an investment property. And this cat we've had for 3 months, and it hasn't figured out the cat flap to go in and out. And every single time I have to go over there and open the cat flap for the cat to go out. And David and I were sitting there last night, and David says, that's a lot like real estate agents. They just want you to do it for them.
Open the flap.
And get and do everything so that they have the same results that you're having. And that's not how life works. You get out of it what you put into it. And so you just have to play all out.
How do you help someone get past like the honeymoon stage of the hustle? Because you and I could talk about hustling because we do it every day. But I think there's a lot of professionals out there in my industry and in yours that get excited for a minute, hustle for a minute, don't see the results, get discouraged, and burn out on it.
Well, most people definitely quit too soon.
Right. Because the only way you can win is to be able to somehow launch yourself beyond discouragement, despair, depression, just being completely bummed out that you're working like crazy and nothing's coming of it. How do you get past that
most
for
of the
long
time,
enough?
I don't see people working crazy that aren't seeing results.
The results.
So if you're lying to yourself and thinking that you're working a lot, You're probably not. Because I hear people all the time and they're like, oh, I haven't done that because I'm just so busy. And I instantly have nothing to say to
you're
that.
too
It's
busy
like
to
one
do
of
the
the
things
things
at work.
that I'm
Right.
speechless about is that. Because I'm like, there is no way you're busier than I am.
Right.
Like, you're single, you don't have any kids, you know, like, give me a freaking break. Like, get out and get to work. I don't understand why you're buying your own bullshit, because I'm not buying it from you.
So you think it's more of that?
Yes.
Than someone who's really putting in.
It's all between your ears.
Yeah.
All of it. I mean, even.
See, I told you Lesley was most down to earth boss girl.
Yeah.
I know.
My coach and I were talking about it yesterday on my coaching call, because you get to a point, especially at this point in our business, it's like, how do you continue to grind without grinding yourself down to the nub? And it's still between your ears. It's still like, why are we still doing this? What's the big picture? What's the goal? What's the why? And that's hard too with David and I doing it together, because I'm doing it. Like, I'm in the day-to-day of it and in the trenches of it. And David's like, God, you're working a lot today. You haven't paid enough, you haven't paid attention to me, or you haven't this or that. We've driven around in silence all day as you text message and play solitaire on your phone. But, I'm just like, so we were talking about that with my coach. Yeah. And my coach says, do we need something like an actual visual for David? Like, here's how many houses you have to buy and how many rentals you have to have in order to have this kind of income, in order to have this kind of lifestyle, in order to not have to continue. Yes. And you're marking it off. And it's like, to me, I don't need a vision board. Like, it lives in my head. And I know there's a lot of people out there that promote vision boards, and I don't have any issue with those. David and I did that when we first got together 10 years ago. And we've tracked it, and we'd put vacations we wanted to do, and he wanted to take his dad to a Vikings game, and they wanted to do all of these things. And as you cross them off, there is some dopamine reaction to being able to say you did it and you completed it. I mean, I do it. I have a checklist on my phone every single day. And so there's that dopamine hit from doing what I'm doing.
Right.
I don't need like some pretty color picture that I'm writing X's off of or anything else. But some people do. And if that's what you have to have in order to trick the dummy, then do it.
Yeah.
So
one, don't lie to yourself.
Yeah.
Number two, create some way to show the progress. In other words, if you know that 20 calls a day will land you X amount of deals a month, then check off the 20 calls and remind yourself.
Yep.
It will convert. Like, this is going to turn into the results that I know it will turn into if you do the work.
And some people, it's like, okay, if I do this, I'm going to go, like, if you love ice cream, I'm not going to eat ice cream all week until I make sure that I've made these 100 calls. And then I'm going to go out and I'm going to get ice cream. Whatever you have to do, again, to trick the dummy. Right. It's like, just do what you have to do in order to hold yourself accountable and get it done. And then you will see the results. Because like I said, I've yet to see somebody that goes all in that doesn't see a result.
Results.
Yeah. Whether it's working out, real estate, investing,
right,
any of it.
Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I love your story, because you've just seen years of success in your business. And I love that you have just been able to grab on to all these real estate trends. And
I think the biggest thing that people have to understand is there's nothing that is super difficult. The difficult part is doing it consistently enough. Like, I'm not a brain surgeon. There's nothing that I do that's just that crazy. Yeah.
The difficult
It's just,
part.
I just do the same thing over and over and over again. And then it produces a sexy result that people look for.
That they want. Yeah. But they have to do the
if they saw all the behind the stuff, if they saw all that, they might not want the same lifestyle that they think that they want that I have. So it's just different.
Yep, it is. Well, listen, I love you and David to pieces. You're two of my favorite people, and I'm so honored to have been working with you all these years. Like, you guys know, I do just about anything.
Yep.
Within reason for you. And I can't thank you enough for your friendship.
Thank you. You too.
And you encourage me and inspire me all the time.
Back at you.
Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for watching. Please like or subscribe to the Mortgage Punk Show, and we'll be rolling out new episodes with top producing agents in the market that will inspire and encourage you to do the same thing, level up. So thanks for watching. Peace out. Later.